One of my friends sent me a self-help video about something called an anti-vision. The basic idea was that you should imagine the worst possible version of your future. Use that fear and frustration as motivation and rebuild your identity so that your behavior naturally changes. At first, I was honestly pretty annoyed. The content itself was not necessarily terrible. Some of it actually made sense. What bothered me was the fact that my friend had sent it to me. It made me wonder if the hidden message was, man, you need to change your life, or the way you are living now is not working. And that really pissed me off. For a while, I thought about ignoring him, arguing against the video, or even sending him another video with the opposite message as a sarcastic response. But then, I realized something. I've also talked on YouTube about how I don't really understand why people want to get married. Maybe he heard and felt the same kind of irritation that I felt today. Then it hit me. People with very different values can mistake each other's happiness for unhappiness. That felt like a surprisingly important realization. A person who values freedom might look at marriage and think, that sounds restrictive and miserable. Meanwhile, someone who values family and stability might look at a single person and think, that sounds lonely and empty. But neither person necessarily feels miserable at all. The mistake happens when we think, I would hate that life, therefore the person living it must also be unhappy. But that doesn't follow. Different people have different definitions of a good life. What looks like a prison to one person might feel like home to another. What looks lonely to one person might feel incredibly free to someone else. Once I realized that, my anger faded quite a bit. Maybe my friend and I simply have very different values. Maybe we sometimes look at each other's lives and unconsciously think, I would never want to live like that. And that's actually okay. The problem only starts when we go one step farther and think, therefore, you should change. So I decided not to argue with him and not to send a counterattack video. I don't need to prove that my way of living is better, and I don't need him to prove that his way is better either. Maybe one of the most important parts of respecting someone is being able to say, I wouldn't choose your life, but I can believe that it makes you happy. That was probably the most valuable thing I learned today.